Call to order City Council meeting for February 7th, 2023 here in City Hall. Would the clerk please confirm the roll?
All council members are present, Your Honor.
Thank you. And let's see, who haven't I picked on for a while? Mr. Jocelyn, would you lead us in the flag salute? Thank you very much for that. Council, tonight, consent.
Your Honor, before you go forward, I would like to make a motion to pull AB 23-021, motion authorizing First Amendment Epicenter service contract until either another day or after our executive session.
Sorry, can you tell me which agenda item you're referencing?
AB 23-021, I think that's the right one, authorizing First Amendment to Epicenter services contract.
Number 13.
Number 13.
13.
Second.
Got a motion, a second to remove item number 13. I would appreciate what you're asking to do what with that?
Well, I'm under, to get more information, I guess, out of Executive Center. Let Mr. Miller know this afternoon.
So to a date uncertain.
We can put it till we can make a decision if you want to make after the executive session, or we can make it till the next council meeting.
Tell me what you'd like.
Let's move it to the next council meeting then.
So your motion is to remove item number 13, AB 23-021 until the next council. Would?
That's fine. I was thinking it was a motion would be a tabling, and then that brings it back to the next meeting.
I'm okay with the table.
Lisa, would you remind the council what tabling has the effect of?
So if you table something that's on your agenda tonight, you will table it to a date certain, and then when you. So if you're tabling to the next council meeting, which I believe would be tonight.
Like restate your motion.
Yes, I would like to table AB-23-20021, motion authorizing First Amendment to Epicenter Services contract to the next council meeting, date stated.
Cheryl, would you?
Point of information?
Let me get still there. Jocelyn.
I just wanted to clarify that a motion to table then requires a motion to remove the previously tabled motion from the table for further consideration, as different than a postponement, in which case it will in fact come back up absent a vote to remove it from the table. Is that correct?
My understanding is that if you do table this item, you would need to then subsequently remove it.
Thank you.
Hey, Health, do you want to provide any further on why you're making that motion, or
Content with what I said.
any council, anyone else have anything to say about that? Being none, motion is to move item number 13, AB 23-021, table that until the following council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
5 ayes with Mr. Jocelyn, and I believe it was Mr. Loudenbeck. No. Motion does. Thank you. Now, where I was starting was on the consent agenda, and I wanted to note that the administration is pulling item number 5, AB 23-014, which is the motion authorizing an on-call contract with Keithley Electric. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent.
So moved. Second.
I missed who moved. Mr. Godhelp was the motion. Again, Mr. Elwood, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and thank you for that. Citizens' comments. This is a time on which you may address council on items not on tonight's agenda. And we'll start off here in council chambers and then move online. And everyone that you'll have 3 minutes to speak, starting with your name and address for the record. Is there anyone here in chambers who wishes to address? See Deb standing.
Oh, hello, I'm back. I hope you missed me. So I'm here once again to talk.
Again, name and address.
Oh, thank you. Deborah Landers, 14615 438th Avenue Southeast in North Bend. I'm here again to talk about North Bend Art and Industry, specifically about a need for a location. We're really planning events, having events, and looking for a location within the boundaries of North Bend, because we really believe it will benefit North Bend to have the types of activities, the family-friendly types of activities that we bring to our community. So right now we've been renting the train depot. I've been in contact with Mr. Miller for future rentals because I believe the parks, Skyview Parks is no longer renting it as of the end of March. We have regularly scheduled events happening at the train depot, and we would love to have more regularly scheduled events, including things like an art train in collaboration with Snoqualmie. So we have some things planned for the summer that would include art festivals at both of the train locations in Snoqualmie and North Bend, as well as some other art festivals in the park around the train depot. But we're really looking for some commitment and some help to get a location that we can count on. Some of the things that we have going on is for midwinter break, we have a STEM camp that we're sponsoring from Robot U. And that'll be all week long from the 18th through the 20th at the train depot. Again, this brings in people all day long, family-friendly, kid-friendly, and really helps to buff up the atmosphere of the train depot. I'm going to pass around that particular camp flyer. Additionally, we hold a makers meetup. We talked about this the last time I was here. This is where makers from all over the Snoqualmie Valley come. They bring their projects, they work on their projects at the train depot, and they discuss it and help each other with their projects. Super popular, in fact, so popular that Falls City Arts is starting theirs in March. So again, it works, it's both needed, and there's a huge interest in these types of things in our community. So I just want you to be aware that not only are we holding the event, but we're leading the Snoqualmie Valley in these types of events that have a lot of interest in the valley. We have a couple of art classes also coming up in the next few weeks at the train depot. And again, we're only scheduled out through March, so I'm really looking at April through the summer and hoping on some help to make sure that we can continue with the momentum that we have. And having a location to hold those things. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is we have our fundraiser coming up, and yes, this is how we pay for the train depot. So I'm going to pass these flyers around. This is going to be a super fun event. Darn it.
I really enjoy your
I'm
enthusiasm.
passing that around. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a month.
Thank you, Deb, and I think we can safely say that you'll be okay at the train depot, but I'll have Mr. Miller confer with the Park District and make sure that it's squared away. Wendy?
Good evening, Mayor McFarland, council members, and staff. My name is Wendy Weicker. I'm their Public Services Community Relations Manager. We're located in Bellevue, Washington, 98005. So I gave a lot of thought as to what I wanted to say this evening when I learned that tonight's meeting included an agenda item to reset your collections RFP rather than proceed with the staff conversations my team's been having with yours since October when we earned your staff recommendation. First, let me start by repeating my apology from our meeting last April for the January 2022 service interruptions due to the terrible inclement weather we had at the time. I heard you loud and clear then and heard you again in November. I am so sorry our public services drivers were not able to collect material for several weeks due to icy roads and unsafe driving conditions a year ago. I know several of you and your residents were angry then and now. I'm also sorry my company was unable to provide billing credits to our North Bend customers who were not served when we could not safely collect materials. As conditions improved, my drivers staffed Dropbox locations and worked tirelessly to collect double and triple volumes. They had North Bend recovered within a week when they could. Public Services was not able to provide customer credits at that time, given that we did not have contract language and accompanying rate modeling to do so like we did in Sammamish and Lake. Providing credits where they aren't planned for at both city and regional levels creates significant financial burdens to our operations and overhead, especially during unprecedented prolonged winter storms. I'm fairly certain my colleagues at WM and Recology found themselves in similar situations with their customers. The solution for North Bend residents going forward is to ensure customer credits are incorporated into your next collections contract. You can do that with some version of the RFP alternative number 5 language and pricing submitted with the proposals you received last fall. My team has been waiting to work with yours to do just that for months. Now, regarding your path forward with this RFP, I would respectfully suggest that rather than a reset, Council clarify contract terms to include the next contract or provide additional evaluation criteria using the proposals and pricing you already have in hand. Given that state law, RCW 35.21.156, requires 60 days for proposal preparation and submission, a reset to this process would push a council decision into next summer. You already have 3 proposals and pricing models that include qualitative and quantitative data to support your making a fair and timely decision sooner rather than later. So let me close with a thank you. My Republic Services teams appreciate serving North Bend and welcomes the opportunity to be your service provider going forward. We are proud of our 30-year history here, our award-winning national reputation for excellence in safety, service, and sustainability. We stand ready to work with your team in this process. More importantly, we stand ready to serve North Bend residents in the years ahead. Thank you for your time and attention this evening.
Wow. Thanks, Wendy. Anyone else here in favor?
Logan Harvey, Recology King County, 611 South State Street, Tacoma, Washington. Good evening, Council and Mayor McFarland. The discussion about the next solid waste provider for the City of North Bend is an important one. The 10-year contract will determine the next partner for the City of North Bend on a critical piece of infrastructure, solid waste collection. When considering the next 10 years, it's important that Council carefully evaluate each contract to determine which contractor best suits the values not only of the city of today, but which contractor will drive the city into the future, a more sustainable, more equitable future. Recology has put forth a contract that meets this challenge. Our waste serial specialists will work with your residents, businesses, and city staff to improve diversion. Our increased customer service hours will allow your residents someone to call when they come home from work and have a question about the recycling or notice that their bin has been missed. Our unique position as an employee-owned company ensures that the revenue generated through this contract will go back into the people who serve the city rather than going off for shareholders at Wall Street. Beyond these benefits, should we be awarded this contract, as I've submitted to you through email and spoken with staff, we're willing to add language that would rebate $50,000 a week back to the City of North Bend in the event of a labor disruption, ensuring that residents never again have to pay for service they didn't receive. We at Recology are excited at their opportunity to continue this conversation with you. I look forward to what council would decide. Should we enter into a negotiation, be selected to enter into negotiation with the city of North Bend, we would be happy to enter in that negotiation in good faith and discuss any piece of the contract the city would like to discuss, including additional services price and those other items. So I understand that the conversation has been pushed to another week. We look forward to continuing that with you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes.
Marcus Morissette, 12629 168th Avenue, North Bend, Washington. Mayor, City Council, as many of you know, I've been engaged with the city and Salal for many years over the issue of water and mitigation. I'm here tonight, shockingly, to address that. I'm going to use you collectively tonight to refer to both the mayor, the city council, staff collectively in terms of my history and hearing and my impression of your actions and statements to date. I'm going to pose a series of questions that are meant to be not really rhetorical or hyperbolic, but since we can't engage in Q&A, I want you to think about them, perhaps answer them if you can tonight. Mr. Joslin, you said last meeting I attended that water shouldn't be used to attack growth. That's not what your mitigation obligations are about. They are about protecting our river, protecting the watershed, protecting our salmon runs, protecting our orca runs, protecting our bald eagle runs. They are not an impediment to growth to be worked around, to be cajoled around, to be bullied around as you guys have acted in the last few months. Mayor, you specifically spoke in front of the legislator on, I think it was 557 or 5562, I'm not sure. One bill seeks to overturn a lot of foster and alleviate you from a lot of your mitigation obligations, and one bill seeks to legislate a forced takeover, give you the authority to come for my property rights and take over Salal. So a couple of quick questions. Why do you continually disparage Salal? Continue to lie about the negotiations. Salal is in good faith at the table negotiating with you when all you do is act in bad faith and make disparaging statements. If I were on the board of trustees, we wouldn't even be at the table with you. You also speak disparagingly about Salal's management. Salal's rates are cheaper than yours, and they have properly mitigated every problem they've had, and they are a fairly well-run organization given their size. You're pushing to buy Salal. Why? You know for a fact that Salal members, 2,200 of them, will not vote to be taken over voluntarily. Well, that begs the question. Why are you coming for our property rights? Why are you so fixated on trying to condemn Salal and take my property rights? I have no connection with the city. I am in unincorporated King County, and if you think I'm a pain in these meetings, wait till you try to come for my and the 2,200 other Salal members' property rights. You will have the fight of your life. Why are you pushing so hard to overrule Foster? Why do you not want to protect the river? Why are you so against the environment? Why do you not want to meet your obligations to your constituents to protect the watershed that they live in, they enjoy, and that is a state resource? Why? Why are you constantly misstating your obligations under the GMA? You make it sound like you have to allow growth. You do not. The GMA does not state that. The GMA was adopted to address ways to accommodate growth. It requires that cities and counties complete comprehensive plans to develop in a way that protects and conserves natural resources. So I would implore you to think about the water as not an impediment to growth. Think about your actions.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Thank you.
Anyone else here in chamber? Nobody step forward. Do we have anyone online? Online, okay. Thank you. With that, we will move on to announcements, presentations, and appointments. First up, AB 23-017. This is an appointment to the Planning Commission. It's my pleasure to do the introduction. Council, I'm sure you've seen in your packet the information. We do have a vacancy with one of our members actually getting appointed to a judge position by the governor, and therefore step down from Planning Commission. I am putting forward Errol Malata, who's been a resident here for several years now, and who had applied to the Planning Commission back in this, now we're in the fall, so it was this past year when we had many qualified applicants, and he was one of those. We did not have enough slots. He was very gracious in waiting, and in the interim, as you will recall, he served on our salary commission, did a fine job there, and so with that, I have brought him forward for this position. Mr. Tremolato, would you step forward? I want to just give you a moment to share a few thoughts with us about who you are and your interest in the Planning Commission, and we'll see.
Sure. I think I mentioned last time for the Salary Commission, I've got boy-girl twins who are 5, will be 6 this year, and a soon-to-be 2-year-old this month. So we moved up to North Bend to be closer to my wife's family roughly 2 years ago. And we've pretty much decided we're laying down roots here for quite some time. So my wife and I discussed we want to be very active in the community. We chose North Bend because we came from a much larger city, and we wanted community, which we've gotten tenfold here, which is incredible. My wife's very active with my daughter in the Ignite dance team program, and I'm on the board of directors for the Little League of Snoqualmie Valley, and the families here are incredible. And so my background is in development, and so I think that's a strong point where I can try to add value to the city myself. And I think these are the type of opportunities where the city is going to be as great as you're willing to put for it. So I'd love to do what I can.
Council, I thought I'd look to you to any questions you may have or comments before I ask for the motion. Mr. Laudenbach?
Mr. Tremolato, thank you again for stepping up once again, volunteering your time. We always here at the City of North Bend value citizens who are willing to come forward with their time and dedication toward the improvement of the city, and that's how we become better. Diversity of people representing different points of view on different committees and commissions, and wanted to make sure that everybody recognized that this is a commitment to love, spending hours and hours reading highly detailed, looking at maps, talking with people of disparate opinions on occasion. It's a rewarding position. It's a great position, and I wanted to thank you.
Mr. Elwood?
Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you for stepping up again. It's great to hear some of your background because it's very similar to my background when I moved here like 15 years ago. 2 kids, setting up roots, getting involved, and I haven't looked back since, and I've loved every minute of it. So I appreciate your willingness to step up and make our community a better place. It is a rewarding position, as Mr. Laudenbach said, and there's a lot of fun times ahead, a lot of long times, obviously, but it's all worth it. So thank you very much for your commitment to the community and for being here. Appreciate it. Sure.
Ms. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Tremolato. It's great to see your smiling face, and in fact, your energy is really a big part of celebrating being part of the city and this level. So I thank you for stepping up again and going forward with enthusiasm and love and zest for the community that you're more than willing to love deeply, and I can tell that already. So thank you.
I just want to say the same thing everybody's said. Similar, started in this community 24 years ago with young kids. Great community to grow those kids up. Now they're older, so enjoy them while they're young. One of the things that I started with was the Planning Commission, and I apologize to your family for the time that you're going to be taking, the amount of time you've got to do. It's a tough job, and it's got a lot of reading, and there's a lot of time away from it. And so we do appreciate you stepping up, and people like you is what make the city move forward, and I appreciate your time.
Anyone else?
I always appreciate any citizen that wants to step up and see. Thank you for doing it very much.
With that, then, Ms. Colin, would you like to introduce the motion?
Motion to approve being on the planning commission. Motion to approve AB 23-017, confirming the planning commission appointment of Errol Tremolata, position number 6, term expiring May 18th, 2026.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. It is unanimous. You know, I gotta say, each time we have one of these appointments and those comments about the long workload have always been there. And knowing that most all of the council members here went through that motion and understand that experience, it's sort of kind of surprising how many of us are hip. Thank you again. You'll be contacted and inundated very soon. That's right. All right, council, next item, number 9. This is a presentation from the Parks Commission report for the past year and the 2023 work plan. We have with us tonight Commission Chair Rudd. I don't know if Ms. Deming was going to do any introduction, or should we just start off with the chair? All right, come on up.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all. So thank you, council and staff, for this opportunity to provide a brief review of our projects last year, what we're proposing to work on this year, and also for any feedback and direction that you may have for our group. So the full report is in the agenda packet, so I'll focus on a few of the key highlights. In 2022, our expenditures consisted of just under $10,000 from the small park improvement budget to enhance several of our local parks. These included a bike rack over at E.J. Roberts Park. There are 3 new picnic tables here at the City Hall Park, and most of our parks have now additional dog waste dispensers. And we also recommended an additional $2,000 to be spent for striping the sports courts over at E.J. Roberts Parks, which will allow for multi-use of that facility to include both tennis and pickleball, which is growing here in our community. The weather caused some delays, and that work has not yet been completed, but it is on the agenda for this year. So on the projects, a key project that we, as the commission, worked on last year was the Parks Element Update as part of the city's overall comprehensive. And this process, in fact, is still ongoing. One of the first tasks for us was to support the development of a community park survey to collect resident input on the needs of our parks and trails, amenities, and facilities. We also did some community outreach at the Farmers Market, where we hosted a parks booth in July, and we did that again in September. Some other project-related tasks have included reviewing our current policies, and our level of service standards, and providing recommendations for the capital facilities plan based on the survey results and the community growth projections. Late last year, right before all the snow came, we hosted a workshop to collect additional community input on the proposed updates, and now we're preparing for a joint review of the updates together with the Planning Commission. Another longer-range project we worked on last year is the master planning efforts for the William Henry Taylor Park and the Riverfront Park downtown. Last year, we reviewed and provided some feedback to staff on the draft RFQ, and just last month, we participated in the consultant-led stakeholder meetings here at the train depot. Highlight, I would say, for late season last year was the Arbor Day celebration, which included plantings of native trees and shrubs along the middle fork of Snoqualmie River. And really would like to thank the mayor and city staff for making this celebration happen. It was a real highlight for community volunteerism. Now, moving on to this 2023 year, we need to work on some of those bigger projects that we started, including the parks element and continued work on the master planning efforts. But in addition, there are actually 2 active park projects that we look to coordinate a community celebration for this year. These include the Tollgate Farmstead ribbon cutting in partnership with SciView, which will hopefully happen sometime in June. And then later this year, we'll look to coordinate a grand opening celebration of the Dahlgren Family Park. And as our community parks and trail networks continues to grow, one of the projects we plan to look at this year is the city's park directional signage. So we'll do a parks tour to help support this effort, and we'll also provide recommendations for using of park maintenance funds and the small park improvement budget, as well as bringing forth any parks-related decisions cards for the 2024 budget cycle and the use of park impact fees. And along the lines of trail projects, there are several currently projects that are in various stages of development that the Commission will likely have a chance to review this year. And these could include the South Fork levee setback and the associated trail design, as well as the downtown North Bend to Tollgate Farm Park trail or pathway, and then a new roundabout landscaping features that are planned for the very highly visible intersection of Mount Si Boulevard and the Bendigo Boulevard as you reach town. We also plan to continue our community engagement efforts, so we'll participate in at least one, if not more, summertime events at either the Farmers Market or the North Bend Block Party or the festival. And we're excited to coordinate another Arbor Day celebration later this year in the fall season. Fall is also the time of the year when we anticipate to have the city's tree canopy assessment available, and we'd like to review that and provide a future urban forestry improvements moving forward. So that highlights most of the key components of our work plan, and I'd just like to reiterate how much we appreciate the council's support in all matters related to parks, recreation, and the city's beautification. It really is a privilege for all of us to serve our community in this capacity. I would invite any questions or direction that you may have on our plans.
Nina, first off, thank you very much for that report. You and all the commissioners for everything you do throughout the years and this past year. And going forward as well. Council, questions, comments for Chair Rudd? Mr. Elwood.
Thank you. That was a fantastic presentation, and it's exciting to hear all the different things that you have in motion, in addition to the accomplishments that you and your commission have made. It's a tremendous asset and value to our community, what it is that you guys are doing, so it's vitally important, and I just love hearing the volume of stuff that you have and the work map. It just makes the Parks Commission an exciting group to be with. You guys are doing some fantastic work, so thank you very much, and please extend my gratitude to the rest of your colleagues for what it is that you're doing. Well done.
Thank you very much. Will be shared.
Miller?
Brendan, that was well put, so I'm going to follow up saying thank you so much for your eloquence and conversation about what is in front of us in the future. It's very exciting. I walk many of the parks daily, and I take note, and I see the enthusiasm again. That's a good word. I'm going to leave enthusiasm all around me, people bringing their dogs, their families, enjoying the space and celebrating being here. And that's important to remember at all times. So thank you for all that you do each and every day. It doesn't get unnoticed. It's noticed a lot.
Very much.
I'll just say kudos. My council members said everything that I could say.
Ignore that.
Okay. We appreciate the effort, and I am amazed at the amount of work on your work plan. It's pretty impressive. Thank you.
Ms. Golan?
Thank you, Mina. I'm so excited. And my question is about the Dahlgren Park coming up. I walk past it with my dog as well down the Snoqualmie Valley Trail every day, and I can see it moving along. My question is, what is it actually going to be?
What is it going to be? It is going to be a wonderful addition to our local parks inventory with play equipment, with picnic, and of course you'll have the parking areas as well as connectivity to our greater regional trail system and a future connectivity to Tanner Landing improvements that the King County is doing just on the other side of the trail. So I think you and your family and dogs, all alike, will very much enjoy this new asset.
May I interrupt for just a moment? Fine. As I am doing it.
If I could call on you, though.
Yes, please.
After Mr.
My
Lautenbach, who
apologies.
was...
My apologies.
I would gladly defer the floor to colleague.
Well, there you go, Ms. Miller.
Well, I don't mean to be rude, and I apologize again, but Mina, just to have a verification of that park that we were just discussing, there at one time was going to be a lookout. Is that not part of the plan anymore? You know what I'm, for me?
Let me refer to our staff,
Yeah.
Mike McCarty here, of whether the plan is actually available somewhere where we could view that.
Yeah. Thank you.
On in the design, but the cost of that were pretty much possible. And there were also issues with the
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mina.
Great question. Mr. Lautenbach, I think it's now your turn.
I was just going to say, Mina, I know that you're looking forward to manning the booth at the farmers market. You're there every week anyway. And I'm sure you get the pulse of the community there. One of the outstanding events that I think does bring the community together in a park setting, not necessarily the Parks Commission, but with Skyview Metropolitan Park, is the farmers market. We certainly look forward to the rain stopping, sunshine coming out, and us being able to enjoy our farmers market this year. So thank you for your efforts on that regard and on the.
Thank you very much. I think all of our commissioners really enjoy the public engagement component, and having a parks booth, whether it's at the farmers market or at the block party, it's been very well received by the community as well. We all really enjoy it and quickly sign up for our turn when there's openings and opportunities.
I noticed that you were very close to the beer garden last time.
And how did you notice that, Mr. Lautenbach? You were seeing her through the fence?
Due diligence, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyone else? Again,
Any further questions?
Nina, again, so thankful for you and all the work that you do. You know, we, as you heard just before, we talk a lot about the workload of the Planning Commission. I don't want it to go without notice that the Park Commission does a lot of work. They may not have quite as much reading. The impact can be just as big.
Thank you. Share that with
And council, with that, we'll move on to introductions. Item number 10, AB 23-018. This is a motion authorizing a contract with GNO for water system plan
Recording in
amendment.
progress.
Mr. Rigos.
Thank you, Your Honor. Evening, City Council, page 71 in your packet. City of North Bend has a water system plan that was approved by King County Council, King County UTRC, Department of Health, and Department of Ecology. That occurred in late 2020 and early. That water system plan is good for 5 years, so we'll need to start that again in 5 years. Tonight, in front of you is a contract to amend our water system. So really what this is, it's expanding the city water service.
Recording in progress.
It's expanding the city of North water service area with city limits. So we are not reducing the city's water service area. We're planning to increase the water service area with city limits, specifically for any parcels that are question might be, why are we? I would say probably two reasons. We've been initiating a water supply. Salal Water Association. Secondly is 2022 that lasted through December 20th. The city was concerned about the water system.
Recording in progress.
About the water system that was approved back in early 2021 by Washington State DRC. The city had concerns about capacity that Salal had. The city has had to step up and serve the Dahlgren parcel. We talked earlier about the Dahlgren family park. So those projects, water to serve that project in entirety, or the National Guard property. So those were one-offs that have happened in 5 years. This moratorium was more concerning to the city of parcels. They had no access to water. So back in 2022 summer, City Council approved a resolution to reprioritize our remaining outside city limits. So we've made some progress in that. What the OH and UTRC is, they want to see some more information on the water system amendment. Normally go through those bodies. Grant Osborne is the city of North author of record, the professional engineer of record on our water system. So we'd like to use them.
Thank you, Mark. And I want to add a few comments to that. And I do also want to remark for council and those listening this frequent voice saying recording. So this is interruptions I think we're experiencing because we're having some internet connectivity problems tonight. And so it's just the Zoom meeting restarting.
Recording stopped.
I was just going to remark this is not affecting the official recording. It's just simply the Zoom portion and so we'll just stop that for the evening. Back to the agenda bill here. I did want to remark. Thank you, Mark. Is very very good, very appropriate overview. This is a parallel step to other efforts that we are making. As council is aware, and many members of the public, I'm sure, we have been continuing conversations, negotiations with Salal on a water supply agreement. I would say we've had much more fruitful conversations here in the last few months than the prior several years of my administration. And I am hopeful that we will be able to reach agreement and come forward with a water supply agreement. That is certainly a preferred approach to solving water. As I've said many, many times, water availability for all property owners in both territories is the goal. And so hopefully we're able to accomplish that through a water supply agreement. This amendment is, as I said, a parallel track. If we continue to be unable to reach agreement, water supply contract with Salal, this would be something that would be needed because they do not have the water to serve the area. We would have to step up. We don't have to get there, but at this time, still feel it's appropriate to move forward with this, and I'd sooner go back to UTRC and suspend or withdraw than to not be in a position to serve residents. So I wanted to be sure and share that. And with that, again, for council, if you have specifically a clarifying question, I invite you to ask that now before I call upon the public. Mr. Rosen.
I have a whole bunch.
Mark, love you, buddy. Sorry, you're in the crosshairs. I'll start just so you know where I'm coming from. I am very opposed, just to be clear. But my clarifying questions, I'll start with the simple one. If Salal were to sign the proposed water agreement that we are talking about, they would have sufficient water to service this area. Am I correct on that basic?
That's correct.
With that being said, do we have enough mitigation water to service this area right now?
Yes, we do, because we are reprioritizing water from Area 8 to Area B. Instead of allowing lots of single-family residential growth in county, inside city limits, several hundred homes, maybe 1,000 homes, instead we're prioritizing that water to commercially zoned properties.
Okay, and then Water 101. The more water we take, the more mitigation water we are responsible for. I know I'm making a very basic statement.
Not necessarily.
But there's a correlation between the amount of water we take out of Centennial and the amount of our obligation for mitigation.
Depends.
Okay.
So it depends on the Snoqualmie River, how that.
So the last 2 years, every September and October, we've had difficulties with Hobo Springs, and we've had some concerns. I guess I don't understand how increasing our mitigation obligation is going to. Seems like it'll only add to the problem of additional mitigation responsibility, and expanding into this territory would.
I love you, Jonathan, but
Yep,
I'm gonna
fire
have to
away.
disagree with you. We have not had problems in the last 2 years. Hobo Springs is a function of how much water is up the reservoir. As long as we have snowpack, not a super hot, dry summer, not super hot, dry fall, we'll have. If we were to have a low snowpack, very hot summer, no rain in the fall, then I would.
And this would ask, not?
No, because again, we're moving water from Area 8.
So on the record, you don't have a problem with mitigation.
The only concern I have about the mitigation is that backup supply. It's supposed to have a backup. We've had adequate mitigation water 99 of the 14 years. The City of Seattle did a damn dry summer, snow preceding winter. I believe it was a dry fall. So the reservoir was lower than usual. It wasn't quite as much.
Then if we were to take this territory over, the state will have no problem with that, us not having a secondary source of mitigation water.
I can't say what the state will do, but I suspect that they would believe that it makes sense for the city to prioritize city first.
I can remind Mr. Rigos that we have a letter from DOE stated that we are in full compliance without.
Yes, for now. We have to come up with a secondary source. I believe that's part of our regional water agreement. And where I'm going with this, let me just chase it. That secondary source ultimately probably needs. My concern is, or my thought, correct me if I'm way off, we can't service that area without a secondary source. Palau can't service that area without water from us. Therefore, we're both stuck with the agreement. Kind of how I feel. I'm wondering if I'm.
Foster decision, it's codependence, it's that symbiosis. Salal needs North Bend and North Bend needs Salal.
Seems very unilateral, but that's for clarifying. I'll leave it at that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Rosen, Any other clarifying questions, Mr. Elwood?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one. Maybe I can just dumb it down to my level, which is if we had an agreement with Salal right now, would we need to be working on this GNO? Would this be before us to decide on this?
We had a water supply allow right now. This would
Mr. Lau, I'm sorry, Ms. Miller?
As a point of clarification for the community, you spoke of Area A and Area B. Can you explain what those are, just to without going too crazy on that?
Yeah, so Area A is within the City of North Detail Water Service Area. It's outside city limits, within the urban growth area, the UGA Act. So it extends, to be more specific, where the Safeway is if you travel east corridor, that's within Station City, that's within the area. That's where city serves city residential. So we would not be allowed to serve that city residential. Same is true down Grove Avenue Road, and there's a very large parcels, 20 acres, 40 acres, 60 acres, lots of single residential zoning that for two. So we would continue to serve those areas of low density. So that's area A. We would still be in the city's water service area, but we would not prioritize parcels for dense growth. Instead, allowing supplying water for commercial projects or other parcels. Moving water supply from area A.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Anyone?
To add on to Ms. Miller's question, can you describe what Alpine Crossing is?
Sure. Alpine Crossing is located at the confluence of Snoqualmie Valley Trail and Tinker Trail. Also, there are 7 parcels there, totaling about 30 or 40 acres. Access would be from North Way and from southeast 136th Street. That connects to 436th Avenue, which is one of the main arterials of the city. 2, the roundabout, 136th, 436th. That would provide, so this roundabout would provide access to a multifamily apartment complex that's being built right now called River Run, ultimately to commercial mixed use crossing. I've heard potential tenants as ECC, I've heard Joe's, I've heard Tavern Hall, I've heard mixed use where they're commercial on the first floor, multifamily residential on the second floor. I think the water supply request was about 600 ERUs, so it's pretty significant. It was about a 75% commercial, 25%. That's the site that represents. Could it change? Certainly. Change. That will go through the planning commission. We'll need permits from city to move forward. System, city zoning, or there would need. I don't have an exact master site scene. Some pretty detailed site could happen.
Mr. Elwood.
Sorry, your conversation was good and it struck up another question. And I don't know who would be best to answer this, but assuming we pass this tonight, and then an agreement is struck with Salal after this gets approved, what would be our next course of action with this contract insofar as, since we wouldn't be seeing this or reviewing this if we had an agreement in place. Is there something in the term where we would get out of that contract with Gray and Osborne, or what would be the next steps after this pass and hypothetically we strike an agreement with Salal?
Yeah, that's an easier question for me, so that I would just get on the phone the next day with Gray and Osborne and say, hey, contract's terminated, send me your invoice, no more billing, please. We're water supply agreement with Salal, we're moving on.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Loudenbeck, I believe you're on.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to approve AB 23-018.
I'm sorry, Mr. Loudenbeck. I'm going to pull you back. I got too anxious there. We need to move to public comment first. If there is anyone from the public, either here in chambers or online, that wishes to speak on this agenda item, I invite you to do so at this time. You'll have up to 3 minutes, starting again with your name, address for the record. Morissette, I see you leaning.
Rigos, this makes it so easy to want to comment. Marcus Morissette, 12629 468th Avenue, Southeast, North Bend, Washington. For the record, Mr. Rigos just said you're going to take your ability to serve single-family houses in Area A. So you're supposed we have to grow under the UGA. That's our requirement, our mandate, to give the water to commercial properties, Alpine Crossing, and a National Guard Readiness Center. So you hear that. This commercial development at the expense of residential growth that you have talked about needing to do under the UGA and the GMA. So I want to be clear in the record that you're going to get around your mitigation requirements by taking water away from the ability to grow in Area A, residential houses, to give to B, to serve developers and to make them money. Just be clear on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here in chamber? Seeing none, do we have anyone online? No one online. Thank you. Now, Mr. Loudenbeck, I'll turn it over to you.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Motion to approve AB 23-018, authorizing a contract with GNO for a water system plan amendment in the amount of $23,820 in a form and content approved by the city attorney.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Loudenbeck, would you please speak to your motion?
I thought Mr. Rigos was very clear about the intent of the bill, and I would recommend it do pass.
Thank you. Ms. Miller, you were the second. Anything to add?
I'll be very brief. Thank you so much. I think also, Mark, that you were very clarifying. I appreciate the information that you bestowed upon us and the public as well. So I hope that we can look forward and guide this healthy going into the future, because our options are not very many.
In this way, comments? Mr. Rosen, I was sure.
Yes, absolutely. About 6 o'clock tonight, I believe we received a letter or proposal from Salal. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I don't know if any of us have. That's an incredible amount of progress that we haven't had in almost 15 years. We seem to be making great strides here in our negotiations, and I'm just baffled by why we're doing this tonight. It seems antagonistic and a massive overreach. Salal's territory is been assigned to them by the state of Washington. They have a duly elected board. We may not like some of the things they do, but we don't have a right to take over their land. Simply put, if they cannot service that area, I understand that and would support us doing what we need to do to protect citizens of North Bend and provide them water. But it appears that they are working in good faith with us right now to try to solve that issue. It is presenting both Salal and North Bend quite a bit of problems as far as development. So I'm really just baffled why we're doing this tonight. We are so close. There is no need to do this time. And we need to also respect Salal, that there are an elected board with their own boundaries set aside by the state of Washington. We have no right to their lands or their territories unless they cannot service them. And they appear to be attempting to do that. As I said tonight, we received a proposal hopefully solves this. So once again,
Mr. Rosen, I will comment to that. We did, as you note, very shortly before the meeting started, I received an email from Salau with an attached proposed draft contract. That is why I'm saying I'm very hopeful. On the other hand, we've probably traded, just in my time in office, a dozen or more draft contracts. I think stretching back over the 14 years, it would be many times that. And so we've not had any opportunity, of course, to evaluate it. We, again, are hopeful we're making the progress that we're hoping to make. But the prudent thing to do is to keep everything moving forward, as sharing with you, and that's why I'm not baffled.
okay, so, and I just, in the ordinance here, it says, whereas due to Salau's own action, the city council has no basis to reasonably believe that Salau will be able to cure its inability to provide water service. I don't know how that reflected what we've seen tonight in their proposal. I think it's reasonable to think that they may be able to provide. I'm reading that right out of the bill.
Appreciate your opinion. Anyone else? Mr. Elwood.
I appreciate your point of view, both of you. Where I'm struggling is, and I understand and respect that there have been other contracts in the past, but as far as I've seen since my tenure here, this is the first big step towards an agreement in my inbox, right? And so I'm troubled, or I'm struggling to understand with this agenda item, and the one that follows, why it's prudent to push them forward tonight, having not reviewed the agreement. I would like legal counsel to weigh in, but that's where I'm struggling, is I get both your points, but at the same time I feel like we're crossing the finish line, at least for the very first time since I've been here, and I just worry that these two actions, I know we're talking about this one right here, may not be perceived as City of North Bend still moving forward in good faith. That's my concern.
Is it
Colin.
possible to make a motion to delay tonight's vote until the next city council meeting? We will have more good faith from the email we received at 6 p.m. tonight moving forward.
You can certainly make that motion.
I motion to delay tonight's vote until the next city council meeting. Can I get a second?
Motion and a second. You need to say anything more about it?
I just think we got this email at 6 p.m. tonight, and if they are moving forward in a good faith effort, we should respect that and look into it and give them our due diligence.
You, Mr. Gossel.
All very interesting. I have no idea what's in my inbox. I sure as heck can't be expected to make a decision here tonight because somebody sent me an email an hour ago, that's for sure. This agenda had to be out 24 hours ago, period, full stop, for the public. It was, and I presume I have no idea what's in the mind of Salal, the board, what they're thinking. That's not my job. I don't care. You know, I don't. There's no facts and evidence that suggest to me moving forward to this tonight is in any way a bad idea. It's in the interest of the city. There's lots of things that have happened that have gotten us here. I'm of the belief, based on what I'm hearing about what might be in my inbox, that it's something that is a proposal that's been back and forth and go back and forth again, and at some point, I presume, would need to get voted on by the Salal board, which my understanding has sort of been a sticking point in the past. And there's nothing, because there's something in my inbox that suggests that an affirmative vote on the part of that board is in any way to be anticipated. And if it is, great. My goodness, we would have a party and rain down balloons in this place. And until that happens, I'm not going to change anything or do anything different. If they want to take offense or somehow think that somehow that's an act of bad faith for this to go forward tonight when it was on the agenda prior to their sending of an email, I will be voting not to table this and in support should it come up for a vote this evening. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, first we'll take up the motion to move this agenda item to the next council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Motion carries. This item is now put into council agenda packet for the next council meeting. Thank you. Next item on our agenda tonight is number 11, AB 23-019. This is a motion authorizing a contract with Rafaelis for appraisal services. Mr. Regos.
Thank you, Your Honor. Page 89 in your. This company I've interviewed twice. Very impressed with this company. Approximately 6 months ago, the city made an offer to Salal Water Association price associated with it. We have done some appraisal work, which is and Salal's new headquarters building. I don't have, the city does not have appraiser itself, so loans, that liabilities, assets, all sorts of components that are part of the equation of valuing any business. So this company, I've interviewed several companies. Turn this around in about 45 days or so.
Council, do you have any clarifying questions before we move to public comment? Mr. Elwood.
Just the same two that I asked before. If we had an agreement, would this be moving forward? And then the second one is, if we do pass this tonight, what is the out? Should an agreement be acceptably reached?
So if we had a water supply agreement, the answer is the same. We would be moving forward with purchase Salal Water. Again, the out too is contract services. Wait.
Thank you.
Questions? If you're a member of the public here in chambers or online and wish to speak on this agenda item, please move forward. Indicate so on the chat box online. We'll call upon you. No one in chambers. Do we have anyone online? You? Leave Mr. Loudenback. This would have come through your committee again.
Sure. Motion to approve AB 23-019, authorizing professional services contract with Ellis in an amount not to exceed $16,000 in a form content approved by the city.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Loudenback?
Why?
You. Miller?
I feel it's prudent to go forward this way.
You. Council? Mr. Rosen?
Yep, pretty much the same argument. There's anything pressing on this. Wait and see what the proposal from board, which I believe they did actually. Mr. Rigos, if I heard you correctly, we're fine on water with mitigation and everything else, so there's nothing we need to rush on. So let's give these folks a chance to put, and let's see if we can come up with an agreement.
That was not a motion. Are you making a motion, or you? Thank you. Is there any other comment? All right. Motion before you is to approve AB 23-019, authorizing a professional services contract with Draftilus in an amount not to exceed $16,000 in a form and content approved by the city attorney. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Hey.
Got that correctly. I had it 4-3. The motion passes. Voting against was, I believe, Mr. Rosen, Mr. Wood. Next item on our agenda is item number 12, AB-23-012020. Motion authorizing the First Amendment to the G&O contract regarding the Meadowbrook Hewlett. Mr. Rigos.
I'm going to pass the baton here to Tom Moore.
Moore, good to have you here with us this evening.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As he said, this is a motion authorizing Amendment Number 1 to the contract with Crane Osborne for the Meadowbrook Sewer ULID design contract that was approved last September. This amendment would include design work of a new water main from Bulch Avenue west, about 1,500 feet to the end of Northwest 14th Street, including fire hydrants and new water service stubs. It would also include reconstruction of Northwest 14th Street from Bendigo, about 1,000 feet west to the dead end, Northwest 14th Street. It would include storm drainage, conveyance, and collection infrastructure as well. The roadway section would look really similar to what's out there on Northwest 14th, adjacent to in the welding shop right now. The amendment amount would be not to exceed $98,900. This would be paid for with a combination of Transportation Benefit District, TIF funds, and water capital. And there would be a latecomers agreement that would be put in place after construction of this, to go along with the sewer ULID, set fees for any property owners in the future that want to. So to be clear, these costs would not be part of the sewer assessment to these property owners. City funds paid for this work. We'd have those billed separately, to be clear with that. In an effort to take advantage of the economy of scale of this large sewer project, and also just remove that ongoing maintenance problem we have out there on Northwest 14th Street. We have a lot of complaints out there from the citizens that live along that roadway. And also to provide much needed fire flow out there on Northwest 14th Street. Staff's recommendation to move forward with.
Clarifying questions, Ms. Coleman?
What are the complaints from the citizens on?
Northwest 14th Street is a cobble of cold patch, hot mix, dirt. Very hard to maintain. This time of year, we can't do anything out there with all the puddles and stuff. Spring, we get out there once everything dries up, we'll grade it and add rock, and it lasts until the rain comes again. That's the biggest complaint. Potholes, it's a nightmare road out there.
Anyone else? Public comment? Anyone here who wishes to speak on this agenda item, please come over to the podium. Seeing none, do we have anyone online? No one online. With that, Mr. Loudenbeck.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to approve AB 23-20, authorizing Amendment Number 1 to the contract for G&O for the Meadowbrook Sewer ULID project in a form and content approved by the city attorney in an amount not to exceed $98,900.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Lautenbach, anything to add?
Vital project. We all realize the scope of what we were getting into. The end result is going to be fantastic. Be a great benefit to the city, so I would recommend it.
Ms. Miller?
Ross, well put. I do recommend it pass. I think there's potential for people on 14th to actually, they want to be part of water. They're having it right there, accessible to them. So going forward, you have to think about the future at all times, right? So this is an opportunity. So I think this is a good fit.
Anyone else? Seeing none. Motion before you is to approve AB 23-020, authorizing an amendment number 1 to the contract with GNO for the Meadowbrook Sewer ULID project, in a form and content approved by the city attorney, an amount not to exceed $98,900. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and it is unanimous. Council, with the earlier action tonight to table item number 13, we have reached the end of the introductions for the evening, and we'll move on to Mayor, Council, and Administrator concerns and initiatives. I believe I started with Mr. Godhelf last time, so I'm going to start with Mr. Lautenbach.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have neither concerns nor initiatives. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Mr. Rosen.
Just want to wish our citizen Burt Mann a happy 100th birthday. Quite the accomplishment.
Mr. Jocelyn.
I just want to acknowledge the ongoing effort on behalf of city staff to clean up from the storms, unprecedented storms and wind throw and fall down trees. I'm out every day, and it's been very impressive to me the amount of biomass that's been removed from the streets, and I know it is not over and it's ongoing, including on this property right here that you finally got around to picking up the branches. I appreciate you didn't come here first. You were wise enough to go out and address other properties throughout the city. I am so glad also that you did come back to this one and revisit it and spruce it up, because it's a beautiful piece of property. So thanks for all your ongoing effort.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will echo Mr. Jocelyn's words about cleanup and the efforts that's going on. It's Herculean, I think is the right way to say it. So well done, staff, on that front. I'd also like to just put a pitch out to Valley Center Stage. The production of INU is going on right now. It opened last weekend, and it's been receiving some really good feedback locally, on Facebook and next door, I think, and so forth. So it's an interesting play. Please come out and check it out and support the arts in the Valley. Thank you.
Ms. Miller.
And Brendan, I'm going to be going there on Sunday with some friends, so I can't wait. Yes, Burt Mann is 100 years old today, which is a fabulous thing to celebrate. If you haven't met him, or if you've never heard of him, there is a lovely video out there right now by my friend Brian Davis, and citizens from North Bend, from the city here, myself, many people were able to give a shout out to this lovely, humble, and very inspiring gentleman. And when I say gentle, I mean that sincerely. So it was an ugly day out there for rain, but it was wonderful to drive by and see the bench that is hallmark to him. And it was loaded with balloons and people walking by, despite the Mother Nature's way of just doing a downpour. And it wasn't tears that were falling, it was tears of joy with that. So wonderful Burt Mann. He's a truly a big blessing. He was Citizen of the Year 2019, I believe. Is that correct? Accurate? Yes. So if you haven't met him, reach out to him. He's just darling. And everybody else, have a great day out there and a great week. I'll also add that Public Works, again, you've been working hard throughout the last month and a half of really ridiculous weather. We've had lots of wind, and everywhere around there you see trash, you see all that, but our folks at Public Works are making every effort to clean it up. It does take time, so I really reach out to the community to have some little bit of patience, if you don't mind, and we're getting it done. And we want this town to be beautiful at all times, and it does take effort, so thank you. Have a great day and a great week.
You, Mr. Goddard.
I do want to commend the staff for all the cleanup and also commend them for the yard waste recycling. For all of us that had quite a bit more material than would fit in our yard waste. I came here and unfortunately I was 5 minutes late, but they did let me in. The amount of material that I saw in there and that these guys did and worked hard really is a true testament to their efforts. And I do appreciate all your efforts and did a good job. Great.
Ms. Colin.
I have nothing interesting to say, but the days are getting longer and I'm excited. So, yay.
That's pretty good. Mr. Miller, anything for the administration?
Last night, we had our first Citizens Academy presentation, and all 15 members were here. Our new planning commissioner was present at that event, and I thought it went very well. And if you have a chance to watch the video, the history lesson was amazing. It was a very good history lesson, and now I know who Taylor and all those names belong to and what they look like. So it was very well attended. I think people were very interested. We got a lot of interaction. The mayor had asked people how long they had been in the community, and believe it or not, 10 of them had only been here for a year and a half out of the 15. So it's the new people here that are extremely interested in getting engaged. And we had a great question and answer period at the end of it. And they're very engaged. They're going to have a lot of fun. They will be coming back to you in March for their certificates and for congratulations of finishing the classes. They've got another 5 or 6 more to go, but I thought it was a great event. Mayor did a great job. I made mine short and sweet, but I loved the history lesson. It was great.
It was a tremendous amount of fun. I had warned staff up front that the worst thing they could do would be to, offer me the stage first. You can imagine how that went for the rest of the presenters. I didn't know it was being recorded. My apologies, Council, ahead of time. Just saying. I'll echo the good shout out and the wishes to Bert Mann on his birthday. Fantastic individual, and I'll leave it at that. Great things were said previous. The city is asking the public to participate in a short survey on the Housing Action Plan, which will help shape the future of housing in North Bend. The survey is available on the news section of the city website. Following the survey, the city invites the public to participate in a Housing Action Plan open house on Wednesday, March 1st from 5:30 to 6:30 at City Hall. King County Conservation District is holding its annual board supervisor election from January 24th through February 14th. So we're running out of time if you have not participated. Like the last 3 years, the King County Conservation election will primarily rely on electronic ballot access. Voters may return ballots electronically through the online ballot access system or reach out to KCD for assistance. For more information about the King Conservation District and how to vote, please visit the news section of the city website. Also available on the news section is helpful tips for the public to help protect theft-prone vehicles and reduce the risk of becoming a victim of theft. I do encourage you to check that out. We've had quite an uptick here in the Valley the last few months. Council, as a reminder, we'll be holding a special council work study this coming Tuesday, February 14th, here at City Hall, 7 p.m. With that, I'm going to move into executive session to discuss collective bargaining pursuant to RCW 42.30.140 and potential litigation pursuant to RCW 42.30.110.1. We expect to be in session for about 30 minutes. No action will come out of that. So with that, we will end recording and end the meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.